So, a lot of people are talking about Vox Machina right now, and I'm going to tell you the reason, but spoilers. Spoilers for all of Critical Role. You have been warned. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Vox Machina has returned in Bell's Hells Campaign 3, to the surprise of many, including myself. I was not expecting Bell's Hells to meet Vox Machina, especially since in Campaign 2, Matt was so cagey about Vox Machina and Campaign 1 stuff. I mean, do you remember the whole Tal'Dorei Council gag? But here, Vox Machina straight up met up with Bell's Hells. Not all the members, but enough that it made a splash. And I want to talk about this because I actually think that this is a really cool thing, because bringing back old player characters, hell, just including powerful NPCs in general, can be, well, it can be really complicated, and I wanted to talk about why. So today, we're going to be learning from both Matt Mercer and Matt Colville, who did a video on this topic 6 years ago, and I think both offer some really good insights on how to include powerful NPCs, as well as bring back old player characters and have them play a role in your current campaigns. So, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I want to go over generally what the situation is in case you don't watch Critical Role or you didn't heed my spoiler warning and just went on anyway. Basically, Laudna died. Laudna is Marisha Ray's player character. She died, and Critical Role's cast wanted to bring her back with some good old-fashioned resurrection. However, Revivify only works for X amount of time, and while they did cast a spell to preserve her body so she could be resurrected by a more powerful spell, they need someone who can cast a more powerful spell. Enter Aurum, who has a working relationship with Keyleth of the Arashari. Keyleth, the voice of the Tempest. Keyleth, the level 20 druid of Vox Machina. Keyleth introduced the party to her past party mates, Percy, Vex, and Pike. Pike can cast that more powerful resurrection spell, but there are complications, antics ensue, and now we have some drama for the episode. Yay, hooray. So yeah, that is the situation. Why does this matter though? It's just bringing in some NPCs. Who cares if they're past player characters? Well, there is an important distinction here. These Vox Machina members are really, really strong, and as we've seen in many RPG horror stories, having NPCs that are incredibly, incredibly powerful can present complications when you are trying to make your party, your player characters, the main focus of the campaign. The first complication is just a simple writing one. How do you prevent the player characters, the players, from just seeking out these NPCs whenever they need something solved? How do you stop these NPCs from just becoming the end-all be-all? I actually think this is the easier question to solve, hence why we're going to be doing it first. The other big problem is how do you prevent these NPCs from becoming the focus? DMs often struggle with this. I often struggle with this. When I'm trying to develop NPCs, especially for a short time, like for a cameo or for a mini campaign, I can sometimes struggle keeping the NPC as a supporting character. I want them to have depth and development, but I don't want them to take up too much time and take up the spotlight. It's a tight line to balance. And when you're introducing previous player characters or just introducing powerful NPCs, that line becomes even tighter, because if it's a previous player character or a powerful NPC taking up the spotlight, I don't know, it just stings even more. It's like even worse than if it's just an unlikable NPC. If it's a player character that you guys have played in the past, it just becomes really weird when the DM starts favoring them over the current party. Now, of course, that's not what happened in these latest episodes of Critical Role, because Matt Mercer is a good dungeon master. So how did he avoid these two issues? How did he avoid writing himself into a corner with just having these NPCs be the end-all be-all and being able to solve everything? And how did he avoid having these NPCs, Vox Machina, take the spotlight from Bell's Hells? Well, let's start with the whole writing thing, because I think that's the easiest one to solve. Okay, so Matt Colville and Matt Mercer both have solutions to this, and I think both are very valuable. The first solution to writing yourself into a corner actually comes from Matt Colville, and I actually think this one is really, really good. Make these NPCs helping the party a really big one-time deal. Make it clear that the party doing something is what provoked this NPC to act in the way that they are. Look, Keyleth helping Bell's Hells is not some meaningless gesture. They didn't just call her up for nothing. There is a lot of circumstance that led to Keyleth choosing to help out Bell's Hells. First and foremost, Keyleth is a major part of Aurum's backstory. Aurum is the fighter in the party, and Aurum has devoted a large portion of his life to fighting for Keyleth and the Arashari. Aurum is on a mission for Keyleth, and during that mission, one of the people helping him, Laudna, died. Not only that, but Laudna is connected to Keyleth because she was a victim of one of the villains of Keyleth's prior adventures in Vox Machina. All of these circumstances combined create the unique situation where Keyleth and the rest of Vox Machina are persuaded to help Bell's Hells. This is a great solution to this problem. First and foremost, it makes the moment really, really special. Whether it's just a previous player character or whether it's a powerful NPC that you created for the campaign, doesn't matter. When they help out, make it a big deal. It shouldn't be a meaningless, frivolous gesture. If you make it a meaningless, frivolous gesture, it shows the party that they can just ask for help whenever. It's a casual thing for this NPC, no big deal. In Campaign 3, Keyleth helping is a huge deal. Going to Whitestone is a bigger deal. Meeting with Vex and Percy asking for Pike's help, this is not something that Bell's Hells can rely on, and that's made clear by the fact that so many circumstances led up to this moment. The other big solution, I think these kind of work in tandem, is one that Matt Mercer really does well here. Quite simply, when you have an adventuring party, they often have other things going on. Percy is ruling Whitestone, Pike is doing something, I'm sure. Vex is busy on the Council of Tal'Dorei as well, helping Percy rule Whitestone. Both of them are also parents. Keyleth is probably the busiest of them all, being the voice of the Tempest and the leader of the Ashari people. This is all stuff that takes up their time. They can't just take time out of their busy lives to go do stuff for Bell's Hells. They have their own stuff going on. Matt Colville goes a little bit more specific about this. You don't need to necessarily put your characters into retirement. However, you can make them busy with bigger threats. They could still be adventuring, they're just fighting other things. For example, I go back all the way, I know this isn't a TTRPG, but I go all the way back to World of Warcraft, where when I was playing World of Warcraft, I remember I was leveling up my Worgen Rogue, going through Gilneas, and at the same time there were heroes on Deathwing's back, slaying the World Breaker at the center of the Maelstrom. Those things were happening in tandem, and it didn't really break my immersion. I am a level 1 hero going through Gilneas and then through Darkshore, dealing with these more mundane threats, while more powerful heroes are dealing with more powerful threats. That's their job, I've got my job. Your D&D world is big. You can have a lot of things happening at the same time. Now, obviously, I don't think you should be keeping track of all those things simultaneously, but simply having characters handling other threats can make your world feel more alive. From a design standpoint, obviously, the way we build our worlds usually revolves around player characters. You know, you create quests around them, you create towns around them, you create NPCs to interact with them. Your world, from a design standpoint, works around your player characters. However, just from an in-universe standpoint, obviously this world is not literally made for them. There's other stuff going on, and that other stuff is probably taking the priority of other heroes. This solution particularly works when you're dealing with high-level NPCs. When you're dealing with previous player characters, usually players will write out an epilogue, and most of the time, at least in my experience, will put them in some sort of retirement, working on some other sort of task. However, if they didn't choose to put them in retirement, the solution also works for them as well. Both of these offer reasonable explanations as to why these high-level NPCs or previous powerful player characters aren't just solving all of the current characters' problems. Also, I just want to end this off by saying that, look, if you're a DM out there and you're nervous about this, your players are probably not CinemaSins. Obviously, it depends on the party. You probably want to talk to them about how much they're willing to suspend their disbelief. But look, as a Dungeon Master, I've made plenty of plot mistakes that are way worse than just having powerful NPCs around. And my players were perfectly okay with it because they were just there to enjoy my plot. They're not CinemaSins, they're not going around critiquing my plot and looking for holes. And again, like I said, it depends on your party, but as long as you offer a reasonable explanation, I don't think your party are going to try to chew you out. We've already figured out the problem of player characters relying on these NPCs. But now that we've figured that out, how do we make sure that when they are present, they're not taking up the spotlight? It's the classic DMPC problem. When you have a main character syndrome NPC, it's a real issue. I mean, having main character syndrome in general is bad, but when it's an NPC, it's really, truly horrendous. It can really ruin a campaign, and we've seen it many times. So, how do you avoid that? Well, it's always important to remember that NPCs are holding a supporting role. In this current run of Critical Role, all of Vox Machina are in supporting roles. They are not solving this problem for Bell's Hells. They didn't just cast a resurrection spell and boom, problem solved, all done, nothing more required. No, Bell's Hells have to like go into a crazy shadow dimension and fight a bunch of visions of Laudna's past and trauma and stuff. It's crazy. Vox Machina are not doing that. Vox Machina aren't going into the Shadow Realm while Bell's Hells just sit around. The focus remains on Bell's Hells. This is their story. Vox Machina are now a part of it, but they are not the focus of it. I was honestly really happy with how this all went down, and something that really surprised me and something that I really love is to keep in mind, especially when you're using previous player characters, yeah, they were heroes, and they probably still are heroes, but look, that doesn't mean they need to be on the side of the protagonists. Percy, in these latest episodes of Critical Role, he is serving the role of an antagonist. He is standing in opposition of the party. They want to revive Laudna, but Laudna's spirit is connected to Delilah Briarwood, somebody who, to say the least, has caused Percy some shit. And he doesn't like Delilah at all, and he does not want Laudna resurrected. My final answer is no, he said. That is in direct opposition to what Bell's Hells wanted. He is an antagonist. I think I mentioned it earlier, but he even threatened to kill the player characters. Now, I don't think this is going to end with Bell's Hells killing Percy. However, at the same time, I do think that using previous player characters in an antagonistic relationship, maybe not to the point of a fight, but just a passive antagonist, I think that's really interesting. I have no idea why I didn't think of that before. I really like it here. I think it works really well, especially since it just fits so perfectly into Percy's character. I mean, seriously, he has changed, but there's still some of that no mercy Percy left in him. Antagonistic relationship or not, what Matt Mercer doing here is so important. Bell's Hells is still the focus. Percy is standing in opposition to them, while Vex, Pike are helping them. That is so important. Pike is not solving this problem for them. I was so happy that when Pike cast the resurrection, it, one, had to be canceled because she realized Delilah was there, and then when she tried it the second time, transported Bell's Hells in some crazy shadow plane. It makes them go on a longer quest, giving Laudna's death a little bit more impact because they have to do all this stuff for her. But on top of that, it really showcases that Bell's Hells, the current player characters, are the focus of the story. They're the breadwinners. They're the ones getting stuff done because it's a plot that it revolves around them, because they are the current player characters. The final point I want to touch on, and I'm just going to combine it with this one, make sure that your players want this. Make sure that your players are interested in this. Clearly, the cast of Critical Role are happy to see these player characters return. However, your party may not. Your party may not enjoy having previous player characters returning to the spotlight. Your party may not enjoy having powerful NPCs running around and helping them out. It depends on the party that you are running the game for. My party do enjoy these sort of Easter eggs. I am currently bringing back some callbacks to my first D&D campaign with this group, and they are absolutely loving it. It's great. However, that is my group. Your group may be different. Everyone plays D&D differently, and this stuff, all this stuff around powerful NPCs and previous player characters coming back, it may work in your D&D game, and it may not work in your D&D game. All in all, I just wanted to end off here by saying that, yeah, DMs have a complicated job when it comes to bringing in powerful NPCs or previous player characters if it's something you want to do, but I do hope that these tips helped you to make it all the better in your campaigns. If you guys enjoyed, then please do leave a like. If you want to see more of my content, then please do check out my RPG horror story series where we talk about the best of the worst Dungeons and Dragons. And while you're there in the cards, subscribe to Crispy Tavern to get more of our content as it comes out. And finally, if you want to leave your own tips or thoughts, go down to the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment Vox Machina to let me know you made it to the end of the video. And that's like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Farewell.